the Grafton School Committee to order at 7 o'clock. Before we begin, we have a quick reminder for all of Grafton that school begins in just 1 week. On Tuesday, August 31st, there will be a practice day for our kindergartners on Monday, so you're all going to see the buses making their run, so it's time for our commuters to adjust your commute times and account for having to slow down and stop for those buses. We're going to move right along now to public comment. I'm going to take a minute and explain how public comment works before we begin. We have 15 minutes allocated for public comment because we have a very full agenda tonight, and that's the usual amount we do anyway. Each speaker needs to be recognized by the chair. When you're recognized, you can come up to the podium, say your name and your address, and you can speak for 2 minutes, after which you can sit down. Comments should be respectful and not targeted toward any individual, including employees of the district. The committee will also not answer any questions during the public comment period, most especially about things that are not on the agenda. If there are questions about something that are on the agenda, we may answer those when we get to that agenda item. This is the only opportunity for members of the public to speak this evening. There will be no question and answer period during the meeting. Everybody good? With that, I will now open public comment. Raise your hand, I will recognize you. You can come to the podium and speak. Go ahead.
Danielle Decker, Follette Street. The cowardly statewide mask mandate put in place today by DESE, although upsetting, was expected. Just as I'm sure the next push will be to mandate the vaccine on our kids. Tonight, I'm here to say no. Fear and hysteria are driving many decisions, and blame is being left in their wake. Over the past 2 years, I went from being proud to have raised my children here to embarrassed and appalled at what I'm seeing. I took the initiative to take on a Facebook page, Grafton Mass Against Mandates. Since its inception, I've been contacted by so many people from the community, from nurses to teachers, parents, grandparents, and just concerned citizens. I've heard from teens who are afraid to say anything for fear of not being liked. I've heard from teens that have spoken out and been bullied by their peers or pressured by their teachers. Most have reached out to show support in secret, scared to even join the group because they're afraid of being bullied, losing their jobs, or losing their businesses. I would have hoped Grafton was better than that, but I know from experience after one of our own community members tried to get me fired for literally clicking the laughing emoji. This is not right. On top of the medical tyranny taking place, we're also starting to see the incremental indoctrination, much of which was ushered in while everyone was worried about COVID and their children's actual education. The gaslighting is real. Call it whatever you want, but even if you put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. Luckily, my kids are old enough to recognize much of this. They love their country and understand that there's only 2 genders. They want to learn real-world skills and instead are learning that it's rude to assume someone's pronoun. I can't even imagine having little kids right now. To all of you who agree, shame on us for being complacent, for keeping our heads down, for not wanting to make waves, and for assuming our school committees and administrations had the best interest of our children in mind rather than an agenda. Just know that you are not alone. Know that many of us will not be masking our kids, not be vaccinating our kids. Many of us refuse to let our children be indoctrinated. We do not consent, we do not comply. We will constitutionally stand our ground. We've all been asleep at the wheel. Some of us have woken up as we seem to be veering off the road. Please wake up before we all crash and burn.
Thank you. Anyone else? Right over there.
Hi, Donna Vabulas, Upton Street. I am a product of the Grafton school system. My 3 children went through the school system, and I'm appalled at what I'm seeing going on here. So basically, I brought information to share. I have handouts. I've printed out a lot. If anybody wants them. Masking children, tragic, unscientific, and damaging. It's a breathing hole. homeschooling in Massachusetts, how to go about it. My daughter does it. It's easy. And then some economic and social impacts of this plandemic. There is no pandemic. I would ask the school board to rethink what you're doing, but I know the bottom line is money. It all comes down to money, every bad thing in our lives. You follow the money, and that's what's going on here. It's funding, I understand, but people need to stand up. This is crazy. I worked 9.5-hour shifts in my job for a year and got bronchitis. I washed my mask every single night and got bronchitis. I had to resign from my position. Now I have panic attacks when I put this on. I'm trembling. It's terrible what's going on. And please reconsider, educate yourselves. It is a school district. And check out Frontline Doctors. I'd recommend everyone check out Frontline Doctors. They use all treatments, not just what Fauci says. And let me tell you too, 25 years ago, I was following Anthony Fauci's fraud in HIV. That's when we all first got computers in our homes, 25 years ago. And I knew his fraud and his crimes 25 years ago. And he's at it again. Millions are gonna die because of this craziness. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yep, go ahead.
My name is Kathleen St. George. I live on Orchard Street. I'm here on behalf of the hundreds of parents that demand we choose what's right for our children. Much of the community is too afraid of the mob to speak up. We've all witnessed people with opposing views be censored, ridiculed, belittled, and bullied. We're seeing friends, family, and neighbors being treated like lepers for critically thinking and making the decision not to vaccinate and not to mask. We're being blamed for being the reason for our country's problems and a threat to other people's children. Sounds like the start of every genocidal regime in history. They say the road to hell was paved with good intentions. It's interesting that some people want to change or erase history, but why? History should never be erased since it's a tool to learn from. Kind of like the 10 stages of genocide. Number 1, classification. People are divided into us and them. Number 2, symbolism. People are forced to identify themselves. Number 3, discrimination. People are systematically denied their civil rights. Number 4, dehumanization. People perceived as different are treated with no form of human rights or personal dignity and are equated with animals, vermin, or disease. Number 5, organization. The government fosters specific groups to enforce their policies. Number 6, polarization. Hate groups spread propaganda to turn the populace against the group. Number 7, preparation. Official action to remove and relocate people and disguised as self-defense. Number 8, persecution. Victims are identified, lists are made, trials begin, and include theft of property and children. Number 9, extermination, wholesale elimination of group. Denial. The government denies that it has committed any crime because it was for the greater good. We are being lied to and herded into a state of medical tyranny. Free human beings do not need exemptions or permissions to not obstruct their breathing or to refuse any medical procedures to participate in a society. This madness will not stop until we unite and end it ourselves. My children will not be wearing masks.
Anyone else?
Marilyn Kusher, Lincoln Lane. I don't have a prepared statement. I just want to take the opportunity to thank the school committee, Dr. Cummings, for doing the right thing for our children, for implementing masking, social distancing, whatever else you're going to need to do to keep our students and our faculty and our school employees safe. Thank you for following the science. Thank you for listening to the medical experts. I appreciate your work. I appreciate the abuse that you're taking, and as volunteers, thank you. Thank you very much.
Anyone else? In the back.
My name is Pam Kokonak, and I live on Keith Hill Road. I'm not a parent, but I've lived in Grafton for 40 years. And I don't have an issue with the mask. I'm not pro, I'm not con. People should do what they feel they should do. What my question is, and I fear I'm not going to get any answer to, is where this committee stands on critical race theory. That's what's most upsetting to me. And like the old adage says, children have to be carefully taught to hate.
Anybody else? Okay. Public comment is now closed. We will move on to general business. I'm going to take, with the committee's blessing, I'm going to take a couple things out of order here. We have Bob Wall to talk about special education monitoring, and I'm going to let him go so that he can do his bit and leave, and we'll just keep Kristen here the whole night. She has to stay anyway. So Bob, why don't you come on up? Hi, Bob.
Hi, I'm Bob Wall. I'm the Special Education Director here, and I just wanted to review the results of the statewide monitoring that we recently undergone this spring.
Bob, excuse me, I'm sorry, can you speak up a little bit? The air is making it hard to hear.
All right.
Thank you.
And I turn off the air, but it's, you know.
No, the ear is important. Is that better?
That is better, thank you.
Okay,
Sorry.
not a problem. So I just am here to summarize the state monitoring that we undergone this spring. It took a lot of work. The special education staff did an incredible job. Our team chairs, our central office staff, Gail Reardon and Marita Steinmetz, as well as Nicole McDonald, the assistant special education director. It was truly a group effort. They reviewed approximately 8% of our IEPs, and they did that as what is known as a representative sample, which means they selected them across various disability areas, various demographics, various schools, and different levels of special education need to make sure that we're doing what is needed for the students of Grafton. So we are here is what they call a LEA self-directed improvement, and what that means is that basically the State Department of Education didn't come in with any particular concerns, any outstanding issues. They're just here to ensure that we're doing what it is that we're supposed to be doing. So, as I mentioned before, there was a document review, a student record review. They also did interviews of CPAC and staff. They did parent surveys, and then they looked at our indicator data. And these are the different things that they looked at. As you can see, it's quite an exhaustive list, and it goes from the identification process to IEP developing, to programming and support services, and then they also looked at a couple of civil rights issues, availability of information, counseling and counseling materials, and the responsibility of the school principal. So when we talk about the indicator information, they looked at indicator 11, which means that they looked at our timelines for determining initial special education eligibility, indicator 12, transition for students age 3, and then indicator 13, transition for students age 14 and above. Okay, so these are the activities it is that we undertook during the spring. Parent orientation, parent surveys, we had a press release, we underwent a record review, they had the interviews, and then the exit meeting that took place on April 12th. So the outcomes. We had glowing results across all 3 indicators in 33 special education universal standards. And the 3 civil rights requirements. The one issue it is that they did ask that we address is that for each child who is taken out of general education and provided their services outside of the general education environment, they asked that we clarify the language in those IEPs to make sure that people understand that that should only be undertaken if the services that are being provided are critical to that student's educational progress and also related to their disability area. Our previous practice was really more of a restatement of the reasons why we had taken them out of the general education classroom, but it wasn't as specific around the critical nature and the relationship to the disability. So, as a result of that, we had to create an action plan. So by June 30th, we had to develop procedures to make sure that we address this issue. We actually developed those procedures prior to the end of April, because we want to make sure that that stuff gets done. And then by August 31st, we had to go through and train staff on the relevant procedures to make sure that they're doing what's appropriate and necessary to meet the needs of our students. We actually did that training back in April as well. And we had meetings with all the team chairs, reviewed our policies, reviewed the updated policies, and then since then, Nicole and I have been monitoring every single IEP that's written by the district to ensure that all of those policies are in line with the requirements that DESE has set forth. Then by the 25th, they're asking that we send a report that just says that we've conducted a review of a representative sample. We're not doing a representative sample, we're actually doing every single IEP. So we'll far exceed the standard that's been set by DESE. And then we anticipate that the last remaining item will be resolved as of October 25th, 2021. So actually, I have to tell you, and you know, as you can probably tell by my rooftop, I've been doing this for a little while. And I can't take credit for this. A lot of the things that were put in place by my predecessor, Arnold Lundwall, but the district is in very, very good place as far as our policies and procedures. We really have got a very, very solid program. I'm very, very proud of the work that everybody's done, and this is by far the best monitoring that I've seen in my career. So I don't know if anybody has any questions that they'd like to ask about this? Yes.
Thanks, Bob. That was terrific, and I'm so glad that we came out well in the report. I had one question. You said that they interviewed the staff. Can you describe, was it just special ed staff? Did they interview paras, general ed, administrators?
So what they would do is they just kind of ask a couple of staff if there was any clarifying questions that they had, any of the documentation.
Okay.
So outside of a COVID year, they might even have gone out to the schools and asked to speak with specific staff.
Yeah.
Due to the restrictions due to COVID, they only contacted those staff that had any questions about particular IEPs. The only issue that I recall off the top of my head that they actually spoke to anybody about was we had a situation where a process wasn't followed, but we keep all of the correspondence when we have an issue like that to make sure that we're documenting what it is that takes place, because we believe in transparency. And they reviewed the documentation, and it was obvious in that documentation that the individual who had made the error recognized that they made an error. They reached out for assistance, and we self-corrected the error. And so, it was the only incidence that they found of that, so they didn't find a finding. So they didn't do as much as far as the interviews as they've done in the past.
Okay, thanks.
Absolutely. Any other questions?
Other questions from the committee? I just had a quick one. So in doing this, did you find that there were IEPs for which students should not be taken out of the classroom after all, or was it just more making the case?
It was more about making sure that the documentation was clear when we do remove students from general education classrooms. I'm a big believer in general education instruction to begin with anyway, and I really firmly believe that the closer it is that we can have all students to general education instruction, the more that they prosper. This language just really kind of clarifies that the importance of that, So and it's well in line with what my belief system is.
Awesome. Well, I think I speak for everybody when I say well done. I know you said it. You can't take all the credit, but I'm sure you'll pass it on. Thank you very much, and this is great.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to share the findings with you.
All right, have a good night, Bob.
I see
You
Nicole
can
in the
stay
back,
if you want.
too.
Oh, is Nicole here too?
Yeah.
Oh, hi,
Thanks,
Nicole. You can stay, Bob, if you'd like. I mean, we're happy to.
appreciate that, but tonight is actually family night at my house, so
Aw.
play games with my children.
We'll come.
Yeah, what do you play?
What do you play?
Yahtzee?
Settlers of Guitar.
Oh, I love that.
Oh,
I'm terrible at it too, so you should definitely play me sometime. I always lose. Take care, Bob.
Family game night.
That's amazing. All right. Well, now I'm glad I let him go first. All right. Next up, we have Kristen to give us a human resources update.
So thank you for allowing me to update the committee. It always seems like summertime should be slow in school districts. It is not slow in the Human Resources Office. I don't know that we ever have any slow time, but summertime is definitely not the slow time for us. During the spring, summer, and fall, we're excited to welcome back our staff. It's amazing to me that we're welcoming our new staff tomorrow. And then our existing staff will start on Monday, so it's very exciting. We also honor our retirees. This year we had 8 retirees. 7 have already retired, and 1 will have 1 fall retiree. Noelle Fillers, a special education teacher at Grafton Middle School. As you know, Jim Pignataro, our high school principal. Laura Kohler, a speech and language pathologist at Grafton High School. Seal Phillips, a grade 2 teacher at Millbury Street Elementary School. Deb Pollinger, a paraprofessional at Millbury Street Elementary School. Lori Loria, a paraprofessional at Millbury Street Elementary School. Carol Tellier, a paraprofessional at South Grafton Elementary School. And this fall, Janet Mangano, a grade 6 teacher at North Street Elementary School. So it's very exciting for them. It's sad for us, and we wish them well in their next endeavor through retirement. Another exciting thing that happens in the fall is that we grant professional status to those teachers who have completed their 3rd year in Grafton Public Schools. So we have Megan Corso, a special ed teacher at Millbury Street Elementary School. Tara Gibbs, a high school teacher, science teacher. Emily Malone is a, sorry, I'm getting confused now where everybody's at. Emily Malone is a teacher in district that I cannot think of what school she's at, and I apologize for that. Jeff Maxwell, high school teacher. Emily is at North Grafton Elementary School. Patrick Sullivan is at the middle school. Alex Tulloch is at North Street Elementary School, and Christopher Dross is at the high school. We welcome our staff tomorrow, our new staff, and we have 20 brand new teachers that we're very excited to welcome on board. We have over 50 hires this year, so it's very exciting just through attrition, and 20 of those are teachers, so we're very excited about that. And of course, we say goodbye to our exiting and exited staff. So we have new staff orientation. Over the last several years, we've been revamping our orientation. Tomorrow and Thursday, we have our professional staff. On Monday, we have our paraprofessional staff. And I have 4 dates identified for new substitute orientation. During that time, we familiarize our staff with technology, the different accounts that they'll use, the devices, the district and building protocols, as well as curriculum resources and supports. Another function of the Human Resources Office is contract negotiations. We have completed our teacher, nurses, and custodial negotiations, and we are in the process of the school year support staff. And finally, tonight, for your consideration in your folder is the nurse contract MOA. I believe later in the agenda, you'll be discussing and potentially voting on this. It addresses the duration, the cost of living increase, personal days, stipends, and tuition reimbursement that are similar to the teacher language, And then we've also updated the nurse coordinator job responsibilities. The work schedule listed there allows for our nurses to have additional time prior to the school year to get up and running to welcome our new students into the buildings. And I can't say enough how much of a team effort this is. I work very closely with Lynn Dolson, Lynn Leofanti, and Rose Page, and without their help, I'm not sure that I would be standing here today because it is a very busy month. Any questions?
Questions from the committee? Jen. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I saw Jen first.
No, I wasn't a question, just thank you. I know with all the contracts that we've been doing, having you there to help go through all the units has been extremely helpful to us. So thank you for kind of being on top of that all the years. But, you know, this year is especially difficult with the limitations we have. And any new hire, when you have that many, that's a lot to kind of get on board. So thank you for taking that on, and hopefully everything will go smooth as the year begins. So thank you.
Thank you.
Liz, go ahead, sorry.
How are we doing on filling positions we needed to? Are we ready to start the school year? Are we still working on that, or how's that going?
So yes to all of the above. I think our staff is phenomenal. So we are ready to open the doors on Tuesday morning for all of our students. We do still have some open positions. We're in the process of filling those. We still have a couple teaching positions, but they're in the works. So I'm hopeful that by Monday morning I'll have all positions filled. We always are looking for paraprofessionals and substitutes, but I'm hoping that our teaching positions will all be filled.
Great, thank you.
I just wanted to thank you also and kind of echo what Jen said. Kristen, thanks for all of your work, especially 50 new hires is a lot. So it's great that people want to come and work here and that we're hiring such caliber of people. I also just wanted to take a minute to thank our outgoing retirees. And we got to thank Jim in person, but thank you to all of them for their years of service. It's phenomenal that people choose to kind of spend that much time in Grafton, and we'll miss them. And also, I think it was 8, now I lost the professional status. So it's wonderful to have that many people reach professional status and continue their careers with us. So I just wanted to kind of just thank everybody, and especially you, Kristen. I know you've been a real help to all of us with the negotiations. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't get to say anything yet.
Yeah,
It's my turn. We're in a hurry. I just wanted to clarify something you said. You said 20 brand new teachers. You mean brand new to the district,
Correct.
not fresh out of.
Correct. Brand new
Awesome.
to the district.
I mean, we love brand new teachers. They come to us with new techniques and, you know, a lot of excitement and energy, but that would be a lot to have.
Yes.
Yes, awesome.
Many of them have experience, yes.
Very cool. I had another question. This might be a little bit weird, but are we allowing student teaching this year?
We are.
We are, okay.
Yes.
All right, cool. So I assume we did not last year.
We did in the spring. We
Okay.
did not in the fall. We wanted to make sure that we were able to have everything in place before we had additional adults.
Okay, great.
Amy, I thought of one more question.
Go ahead.
Kristen, we have so many new teachers to the district. Could you just maybe briefly share what our mentor program is like? And if that's still, I'm sure that's still going on, but could you give a little overview of that? Do you
Yes,
mind?
thank you. I did have that noted on my slides and I completely went by it. Yes, so each of our new teachers are given a mentor, typically in the same grade level or discipline area. Sometimes it may be a 6th grade teacher may have a 5th grade mentor, or an 8th grade teacher may have a 7th grade mentor. But each one has a mentor that's specifically identified for them. They meet initially very regularly, sometimes daily, if not weekly. And then as the year goes on, they may meet monthly. It really depends on the new staff member's experience. We also have, if a staff member has moved a grade level or discipline will also identify a mentor for them. So they may be experienced teachers even within our own district, but if they've moved schools, we had several that transferred buildings, and so they would also be offered a mentor.
Oh, good. Great. Thanks.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Am I dismissed now?
Oh, haha.
My turn.
What?
My turn. I'm getting you a shirt.
Well, it was more that like Jay was all excited to give us his district update. That's really what it was. Gotta go on to the next. All right. Jay is
All right,
here with the
I-
district update.
Put together just a few slides for you. The first two are about COVID-19. Obviously, we've got the masking mandate. It's going to be through October 1st at the very least. I sent out an update to the GPS community about right after that Board of Education meeting, so around 11 o'clock today. I had set aside time to respond to emails, Facebook posts, what have you. So far, I haven't received, I think I received one email. So I don't know if people just need more time to process it all, or I think we did a pretty good job in terms of the Q&A. There will certainly be questions, understandably. We have a lot of students who participated in RLA, Remote Learning Academy, last year, so this is kind of their first foray into in-person learning during the pandemic. So understandably, we're ready to handhold and kind of walk people through that. So that communication went out today. That's our biggest, unless something substantial changes before the start of the school year. I see that as our most significant update. We're going to put out probably tomorrow a consent form. I'll talk about testing in a little bit, but some consent forms with cover letters, some other pieces, but that's probably the biggest piece of communication that will go out this week. And again, unless things change. In that document that went out today, we had embedded in that two core documents. Deb Fiore behind me and our nurse leader, Jackie Davis, did a fantastic job taking information from the state and tailoring it to Grafton, which is fantastic. They did the same thing for the information that's going to go out tomorrow in terms of the consent form. The actual form will be the state form, but the cover letter and how we package it will be unique to Grafton. So the new for the start of 2021-2022, we've got the Test and Stay program. This program we signed up for over the summer, and it's going to allow us to keep asymptomatic close contacts in school if the parent opts into this program. And by opting in, there would be a test, that BinaxNOW test, would take place on a daily basis for about 7 days. And as long as that test is negative each day, that student is able to stay in school. That's brand new this year in terms of offering from the state. And again, our school nursing staff, with that parental permission, would administer the tests, and it would be done at school. We've had the BinaxNOW tests since last fall. So we have everything on site. That's probably one of the top questions I get, thinking like we bus the kids somewhere to be tested or something, or the parent takes the student to go get tested. That's not the case. We don't have any distancing requirements. We are, of course, in the classrooms, and we're pretty good at it. We've been doing it for a while now, where we're trying to maximize distance. We're certainly trying to do that and are most cognizant of it while students are eating. We're going to guarantee that minimum of 3 feet, but any way that we can get above and beyond that 3 feet, we're doing so. That's actually, for us, fairly easy to do, especially when the weather cooperates. At the secondary level, we can go into the gymnasiums, which high schoolers and middle schoolers certainly don't mind, and we can also go outside, which generally they love too. It's a little harder at the smaller elementary schools, but again, we've been doing it for a while, and I think we'll be above 3 feet consistently. We no longer have the masking mandate outside, and a big change this year is we don't have the remote option. So last year, we could always fall back to RLA or different versions of remote instruction. We don't have that ability this year statewide. So before I jump or go beyond the COVID-19 stuff, I can take any questions you guys might have about anything that's on your mind, COVID-wise.
This program, the test and stay program.
Yep.
Jay, is there any special training required for the nurses?
Yes, and they've all received it.
And
Yep,
was
they
there
were trained
any,
last year.
was there any cost involved that district
No.
had to? Okay.
Done.
That's amazing. Good, Liz, sorry.
Are we still able to continue the same sort of cleaning protocols that we did last year? Because I know we added staff and we got a
Yeah.
lot of extra
Um,
supplies and things. How's that looking?
It won't be at the same level it was last year. We had, as you mentioned, we had additional staff for almost every area. Or we did have extra staff for every area. We don't have that same level of staffing. We are going to, DESE and DPH have identified what cleaning takes priority and what has to be done, and that we are going to do.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Jen.
I have 3 questions. One, for the test and stay program, as long as they're asymptomatic and they're taking the test, the rapid test, that's for anyone. It doesn't have to be vaccinated, unvaccinated. Like, anyone can continue to
Well,
stay.
if somebody is vaccinated, they wouldn't be considered a close contact
Okay.
if fully vaccinated.
Okay. I
So
just was looking for
pretty much
clarification.
elementary, when they don't qualify for the vaccination, you know they're going to be a close contact because that's not an option. At the secondary level, there is criteria that's new in terms of close contact. So if somebody's already vaccinated fully, they wouldn't even fall into the test and stay program.
Okay. The tents, are we putting them back up?
Yeah, they are up.
They're
They're
already
up
up?
currently,
Okay.
correct.
I don't go to the schools.
Yep,
right now.
we didn't take them down. They're not your typical backyard tent.
Okay.
They
Now,
are.
I remember them before, I just didn't know if they
Even the
still are.
hurricane,
Oh,
even if it
nice.
was a real hurricane, we were in pretty good shape. They are up for a long time.
And the last one, it's not, you didn't touch upon it yet, but from DESE, they were talking about if we reach 80%, we can get rid of the mandate. My question is, I saw the breakdown of 12 to 15 and 16 through 19. Is there a way to break it up so that we can see how many are in the high school and how many are middle school?
That's
I
a
just didn't-
fantastic question. They're going to have to give out guidance on that. There are a bunch of questions that come up. Most towns have what we have, where you get that snapshot of Grafton students, but a lot of those kids are going to BVT, they could be homeschooled, they could be going private school, what have you. And it doesn't, I haven't seen anything on the school choice piece, where we bring in over 100 students. And as it stands now, in terms of from the Board of Health, we would certainly not know if Bill Smith from wherever is vaccinated or isn't vaccinated. In our district, that's not a huge variable, but in some districts, it really is. So we don't know that. We also don't know, are they going to do it by district or are they going to do it by school? My assumption is they're going to do it by district, but I could definitely be wrong, where in theory, the middle school falls short of 80%, say, and the high school is above 80%, and we would therefore have two different things going on, 100 yards with two schools 100 yards away from each other. So we're going to need guidance on that. They haven't sent out anything on that yet.
All right, yeah, no, I was just more curious, especially because the 16 to 19, a lot of those students are already going to college.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that
we
is-
definitely need something
first.
more specific.
So I didn't know what
So they
numbers
gave
are
the
given
end
to us.
metric, but not the tool to get there so far.
Thank you.
Yeah, oh,
Can I-
you went already, right?
Well, can I respond to something Jen said? Can I?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay.
That's all right.
I just for fun, I did some calculations to group that age group together. So from 12 to 19 all together, we're at, right at the last report, we were at 68%. But
Oh.
I was just running, I was curious, I was running some numbers, but
What
yeah,
was,
well,
what was
it'll-
the number?
it was,
I missed it.
for that whole age group, it was at 68%. So
68,
that's
okay,
considering 12 through 19
got it.
at the last reporting.
I just
Go ahead.
wanted to follow up on the answer you gave Jen. So if somebody's vaccinated, they're not considered a close contact. How will
Let
we
me
know?
check with my expert, is that right?
Yeah, is that?
close contact, but they don't have to quarantine.
They don't have
close
to-
contact, but doesn't
Well,
have to quarantine.
How will we know if we're not requiring people to show their vaccination? Will you get a phone call? And, like,
Yeah, at this
what-
point, they would definitely contact the parent, no question about it. I think most districts, if not all districts, are right now scrambling to figure out how we can best get that information.
Right.
Is it possible to get, we can do it right now. I think most districts are moving towards basically asking parents, if they're willing to do so, please send it in. It would just help the process. I do know our nurses are going to call, like, no matter what, just to
they're
like
so
double
good.
check, and
Yeah.
they're awesome and they're super thorough. There is a system that it probably has a fancy name, but that MIIS program where it gets entered automatically. But in talking with Kristen and I met with Jackie Davis yesterday, it's not. I'm sure it's a wonderful system, but it's very student specific. You have to go in, you have to click update on a daily basis, so it's not easy to use. So part of the conversation we had with Jackie yesterday, and we haven't figured out exactly how to handle this, if we ask parents to send a photo of their vaccination card, we just have to be ready to process that.
Right.
Our nurses are doing a million things and process that, and then we've got the consent forms that we're trying to figure out. We're working as we speak. We're putting those into Power School for the secondary level. We'll have the hard copies. Elementary we're much better off with primarily hard copy. So we're trying to get all that ready for tomorrow. So we've got just a lot going on.
Yeah. Okay.
And all of that's coming. We just need to figure out a way to package it in a way that makes sense for parents, but it's also manageable on the nursing end.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. And while I just have the floor, Deb, thank you so much for all your work. Since you're here, it's
just-
nice to be able to thank you in person and share with your
They are
team, please.
absolutely
Our
awesome.
appreciation.
Go ahead, Liz.
Do we have any decisions as far as after-school activities, sports, music, all that? Is that going back to somewhat normal this year?
Yep, somewhat normal, more or less what we saw in the spring, where fall sports, you could have cheer and primarily volleyball inside. They're going to be masked inside. Everybody outside will be unmasked. I haven't seen anything from MIAA, but I wouldn't be surprised after today's news that they put something out about sports. Tracy did a nice job of connecting with our music and fine arts department. We seem to be in really good shape there where we can perform inside. They're basically going to continue to do what they did in terms of spacing and precautions in the spring and carry those over. And we are running after-school clubs and activities. Obviously, if they're inside, they're masked. But we're trying to run everything as close to normal as we can do it.
Anybody else? I had one question about the statement from DESE today said that they're encouraging districts to host vaccination clinics in district. Is that something that we have the bandwidth to do?
We do. The state, I haven't seen anything out recently, but if they offer the clinics, we're happy to host. Bouvier Pharmacy, as you probably know, they've done at least 2 clinics for us and have been fantastic. Maybe a week and a half ago, they ran a clinic at the high school. I want to say we had 15 people sign up. I actually reached out to him right before this meeting. I haven't heard back, but I gave him 5 minutes. But they're fantastic. He has mentioned, like a couple weeks ago, he said that they're happy to do it. So I do see that being offered again.
Maybe when they approve it for 11 and under.
Yeah,
Might be.
I'd be surprised if that's not paired with some kind of statewide push. We'll see.
You mean like bigger sites like we had before because
Yeah,
they're just so many
yeah.
children? Could be.
I mean,
Could be.
they were doing that in the spring, more in the urban settings.
All
But we'll
right.
see. I don't know.
Anything else for Jay on his district update? Or do you need to keep going?
Just a couple
Oh, okay.
easy things.
Sorry, I thought we were done.
So just, I wanted to update you on the assessments. That ADA assessment, we went out to bid, I think it was in late spring. And we've got a contract in place. They're going to begin in September. They should be done. I think the goal was to have it done by December. I've been working with the Disability Commission. Roger Trahan's a huge help. There's another window for grant applications for disability-related projects. You may recall that last year we put in for 2 projects and we didn't get them, but they have another opening in September, so we're going to reapply with the help of the Disability Commission. And then the equity assessment, myself, Kristen, and Tracy met with Gabby Knight, I think it was yesterday, and looked at like our overall plan and set a time frame for completion of the assessment. We are not going to be bound by anything. We talked over and over again how about we want it to be really thorough, well done, and high quality. If that means it takes a little longer, that's okay. But roughly, we're hoping to get it going in September and have at least a working draft by December. And again, if it goes longer, so be it. But that's our rough time frame as of now. And then I just wanted to mention before and after school care, I've shared this a number of times. I don't know if we ever talked about it in a meeting. Cherub's Haven was bought out by Precious Ones Child Care. Jeff May runs that organization. He's done a really nice job. We're now able to provide after-school care at all 4 elementary schools, which I believe is going to be very high quality at a reasonable cost. And for the first time, provide before-school care at all 4 elementary schools. So this is something, if you've been around for a while, we've been talking about for literally a decade plus, and it's finally coming to fruition. And from everything I've heard, it's been very well received by parents.
Great.
And I think that's all I have. Yep.
Any questions on those items from the committee?
One question on the after school before the program. Can parents join at any time throughout the year, or is there like a time period that they need to sign up by?
As it stands now, I believe it's purely rolling. They have space at all 4 schools. In theory, I would suppose that if they reached capacity, whatever that might be, we may have to have some kind of waiting list if space is the issue. But Jeff May has not mentioned that.
Okay.
That's it. Great, thank you, Jay. I'm excited to hear how the before-school care works out. All right, moving on to item D, subcommittee assignments. So I sent an email to the committee last month, I think, let you know what all the different options are. We don't, I believe, need to appoint negotiation subcommittees because we will have 3-year contracts for every bargaining unit, which puts us off the hook. Yay! So we don't need to reappoint those. So we do need reps for GSC, the Grafton Sustainability Commission, which I'm on right now, the Capital Improvement and Planning Committee, which I'm on right now, the Policy Subcommittee, which currently is Laura and Liz, Budget is Jen and Rahul, and Payroll and Warrant Signatures is Jen. Laura.
I apologize. I just made the connection while we were sitting here. I think we're going to have one more subcommittee that we're going to learn about in policy tonight. We're going to also have a wellness subcommittee that I think is going to be back.
Okay.
Right, Tracy?
Yes.
And ARPA's not on this list either for some
Yeah,
reason.
we have
Now
the
I
new
can't.
one right from the town.
Yes, that's
Right.
ARPA.
Yep. So we'll have 2 more. Yay!
I can't edit the
And
document.
you can't edit it.
No, it's not letting me edit it. That's fine, I'll just take notes.
So the
On paper.
wellness might take a little while to get started, but we're gonna talk about it later in policy, so.
Okay.
I do have one question. The subcommittee is the Together We Can. Was that part of us or not part of us?
No.
Okay. I think someone was asking. I don't know.
No.
All right. I got confused after a while.
Yeah, there were, the recommendation, I believe, was that they try to reestablish under the school committee,
Mm-hmm.
but I think they opted to try something else. So
Okay.
they're gonna do that.
Okay.
What do we say what we want to be on?
Yeah, I mean,
How
we
do you
can do
wanna
it, we can do it anyway. Let me just say, I'm not afraid of having my assignments taken away from me. I'm not afraid of leaving things the same either. So if you guys want to stay the same, we can do that. We can switch it around. Jen?
I will stay on payroll and board because I feel we have a system that works, and budget as well.
Any objections? Okay.
Yes.
All right, Jen's going to do that. All right. Liz. You're not Liz.
I'm Laura, but I would also like to stay on policy. I know I have been on it a long time, but we're just really rocking and rolling, and I'm very passionate about it.
I would also like to stay on policy.
The same for me, just continue. I don't want to be in any new committee because as of now, I do not know when I have to go
Okay.
away, so.
Okay. That's fair enough. All right, we
But
can
I'm
leave it.
happy to jump on other committees as well. We have those two. The town committee, although I have some ideas on who could be on it, this is the one that talks about how they're we're spending our federal funding. And I think it's with select board, town people, finance committee, right?
Yep,
And
and
I
Jay.
think, and Jay. Oh, wow. That makes me really want to know, but so I'm not volunteering myself. I just think that's an important, really important role for someone on the school. So it'd be somebody. I'm happy to do it, but I also don't want to take it away if somebody else would really want to do it. That's fine with me.
Does anybody else have a burning desire? Well, let me ask this. Does anybody else want to try a stint on the Sustainability Commission or the Capital Improvement Committee? Okay, I'll stay on those. Thank you very much. Yeah, look at you buttering up. All right. I agree, we need somebody knowledgeable on ARPA. Either one of us could do it. If
Yeah.
you do it and then you can't go, I can sub for you. It's no big
Did
deal.
you really want to do it?
No,
Okay.
no.
I don't want to. Again.
Nope, that's
I
cool
never
with
want to
me.
crush anybody's dreams.
All right, you'll be our rep.
And I'll sub if-
And then
me
the
too.
wellness, do we want to wait and see what it is before we? Since we
Well, I
haven't-
would nominate Liz, but yeah, I mean.
And I would like to do it.
Oh, is that okay? Then you said you wanted to wait, and we can also switch mid-year if your schedule works out and, you want to try capital, you can come on with me.
Yeah, and if I decide that I don't like that other committee,
ARPA.
I don't know who else is on it. I meant to actually do, because do you guys know?
Well, there's somebody from the select board.
Yeah, but who?
Peter's gonna start it, but that's not who the rep is.
I think it's Peter. Peter said he wanted to do it.
Peter is doing it.
Okay. I
There
just
you
wanted
go.
to make sure I didn't have an internal conflict.
So it's like the Peter show all over again. Laura and Peter.
Laura and Peter are a good team.
There you go.
All right.
And you'll have Jay with you
Yeah,
too.
I didn't even know
I
that.
know he's thrilled.
That's a bonus.
Yeah, Evan's on it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it'll be a
I'm
good
just
group.
kidding. I can play well with others.
I know you can. All right, so we have our assignments, and I just need access at some point.
Yeah. I don't know why I didn't know. Or you could just redo it.
I could. All right, thank you, everybody.
That was great. Do we have to
Yes.
vote?
Do we vote on
No.
that? I don't think we voted last year.
Nah.
I think we have to for all.
I asked for unanimous consent to approve the slate of committee assignments.
Second. Oh, I make the motion.
You just say yes.
Yes.
Aye. Unanimous consent, everybody just ayes. There
Hi.
you go. See?
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, it's real quick. Oh, you did give me
I'm
permission.
glad you wanted to do it, Liz.
Since the two of you know what the committee is, I figured it'd be one of you.
Yeah, well.
I was on it.
Change after it's announced.
You were on it.
I was on it for a long time.
I've never heard of this committee,
Well, we did, the
so.
homework policy was through that, wasn't it?
Well, homework, it was a lot. We had a lot, and I think it's changing. Well, we'll get to it, and Tracy can tell more. It's not up and running.
Are you on that committee?
On homework?
No, wellness.
I'm assuming I will be on that committee, yes.
Cool.
It was a great committee, I have to say.
All right, we're gonna move along, I think, to future agenda and schedule planning. Jay has provided us with a handy dandy color-coded draft calendar that's in the packet. And I didn't know if you guys had had a chance to look it over, if you had thoughts, suggestions, things that you noticed were missing. I'm excited to get an update on the equity audit later in September. And I always enjoy Tony coming in, giving the buildings and grounds update. And then we have Neil in October with technology. Bob will be back later in the month to do special ed report.
Amy.
Yeah.
I want to invite CPAC in. In the past, we've had them come earlier in the year to let parents know about them.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to see if Heather and Laura
Yeah.
can come back at some time?
Okay.
Whenever is,
Maybe see if they can come the 26th.
yeah, with Bob.
I will.
Makes the most sense.
I will reach out, see if they can come. They're probably watching too, so. Tuesday, October 26th. We'll see. If that doesn't work out, I'll try to fit them in another.
Yeah.
Good catch. I missed that. Wow, we get something from Tracy like every week.
She is very important.
That's awesome.
I love-
You're all Tracy'd out.
I also love that we are combining the schools again for the updates. I think that's, it worked so well last year. It's nice to have that kind of continue.
I like that too.
Yeah, well, it really shows like that they're not separate. There's a continuity between schools and they work so well together. And sometimes when you just hear the separate, it doesn't, you know, I really feel like Julie and Doreen are a team and Joanne and Steve are a team. So
Yeah.
that's nice. So good job.
Yep.
I just have a quick question about budget. Are we doing, in the past, you had like updates like continuously through December? Are we just gonna, I see September and December, or is it just be part of your district update? I'm not sure, like, how it's being sprinkled in.
I met, I guess Anita was there too, with Evan about ClearGov. And now we're using that software. So we're gonna, we haven't had any training, we've only had one discussion on it. So it's pretty gray right now. We're happy to jump into that. Will it be like one software book? Are we gonna have two separate books? If it's all on one, we're gonna be more, I'm not sure how that's gonna work all timing wise yet.
Okay.
We're working on it.
I know, I'm just
From-
looking at December and there, but remember in the past, they used to come often.
Well, they are. It's on every single week. September, October preliminary budget, preliminary budget, preliminary budget.
Maybe I'm not reading, I guess I was looking for Anita. I see Anita and then I see Anita.
So it seems like
December-
it's every week, and then we have one meeting in December, which I like.
Okay.
So, but it's,
It
alright.
should, no matter what, the idea
Oh,
is
equity
it
audit.
culminates in December in a full presentation, the book,
okay, I see it, I
in
see
whatever
it,
version
I
the
see
book is done.
So for clarity, that's for preparing the 2023 budget.
That's right.
Right? So we had talked about in the past about having updates, like where we are on the
Yep.
budget updates. Are we going to continue?
I'm expecting that's gonna be a part of your book. I thought it was every other week, or I'm sorry, every other meeting.
Yeah.
But if you guys
Okay.
wanted every meeting, that form, because you guys liked that layout, that's super easy for us. I mean,
Okay.
that's a click of the button.
So that's part of this, though,
I was
The
thinking
forecasting
of that as
budget,
in
that's-
the financial report. So
Okay.
in that being focused on the current year, I took what Jen was asking about, I think, talking about building the budget for the next year.
yeah.
But, so both will
I'm
happen.
talking about, I'm
Got you.
talking about
Yeah,
status updates.
it's listed a couple of times.
Yeah, I was looking at the colors.
Yeah,
It
so
wasn't
the
highlighted,
FY
so it's
'22
there. I see it.
everywhere.
is the 28th of September, but then again on January 11th. So in between those, we would still
No,
get,
but it's on the 12th.
that's 23.
Right.
That's 23.
Oh, right, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, we're talking about two different
Yeah.
things.
So, I lost my train of thought. So we can get that report more frequently, that one sheet. But to have the actual presentation, we'd only have it twice or three times, looks like, for the current fiscal year. But do we still need to wrap up 21? Or do we just want
Is
to,
there any more transfers?
okay, so we're done.
That's,
We did that at the end
I
of
think
June, and
so.
we're, okay.
I can check, I'm meeting with Anita tomorrow about
Okay.
some other things, so I can ask her.
Okay. Yeah, there's usually a period of time where we have the previous fiscal year and the current,
Oh, yeah.
and then we jump to next, so maybe we were all set, but But yeah, I think having that one sheeter for the next meeting would be good. And maybe that can also sum up where we ended FY '21. Just so we can see it. Is that good for everybody? Any other aspects of the school department that we want to see that we're not seeing in this? This is basically what we did last year and the year before with some things added that have come about. I mean, obviously, the equity audit is new this year. And teaching and learning also includes professional development, right? So we don't need a separate thing on that. All right. Awesome. All right. If you guys think of anything, definitely let Jay and I know and we'll put it in. All right. Great. Okay, we will move on to, we're running right on time. Actually, we're a little early. Approval of minutes. Are there minutes?
I didn't see any.
I didn't see any either.
I feel like I read them though at some point.
I felt like I did too, but then again,
Yeah, there are no minutes.
there are no minutes. Okay. So there's a warrant.
Here,
Yes.
I move that the school committee approve warrant 8 dated August 19th in the amount of $247,161.34.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the warrant? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote, which doesn't have to be roll call. Yay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Now we'll move on to the nurse unit contract, which is in your packet. If anybody has questions about the contract, now would be a good time to put them to Kristen, I would think, unless we want to get a motion first and then ask.
It's
not in the packet.
It's in the drive,
Oh, my bad. Sorry. Thought it was in the packet.
the MOA.
It is in the drive.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the memorandum of agreement between the Grafton School Committee and the Massachusetts Nurse Association for the 2021-2020 through 2024 duration.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion, questions? Nice job to everybody involved. Thank you, Kristen, for all your hard work on this one.
Thank you to the nurses as well. They
thank you to the
came up with
nurses.
some great ideas to
Yep.
strengthen their contract.
They were very pleasant to deal with. All right. With no discussion, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? No. All right, motion carries. Now we have a nurse's contract.
Yay.
All right. Policy time.
Woohoo!
How do you want to do this, Laura and Liz?
Well, everyone has their packets in front of them with all of the policies, so I can just, let's see. I think what we could do is go through the three as a group, the first three, because they sort of relate to one another, and I'll explain them.
Okay.
And then, at your choice, we can vote on each of them individually, or we can vote on them as a group. So, the first policy, this was our original health and wellness policy, which we are recommending we remove in place of what we found to be much more useful. We liked the wording better. It was more detailed as far as the wellness committee that Laura mentioned earlier. We added some language and made modifications to it. So if you see the first policy, which is ADF, that's our original policy. So that's all redlined because we deleted the whole thing. Then the second version you see, that's the MASC policy, but you also see additional red lines. That's because we couldn't just take it as it was. We had to make our own tweaks and adaptions. And also, a lot of the red line is just suggestions that the MASC policy makes. For example, the following list contains examples of goals your school district may want to consider. So we don't need that as part of the policy. So we so a lot of that language you see, a lot of the redlining are things like that. But it does reestablish, I believe, the wellness committee, and has basic guidelines for that committee. within this. It replaces what they call it before, the Health and Wellness Council. It was just named differently and set up a little bit differently, but we liked how this was worded. So, the third policy are the Health and Wellness Guidelines, ADF 1. So that will be what the Health and Wellness Committee will use to help guide them. We made very minor changes to that. Just changing the word consider, and the sentence that says the offerings by the food service provider will, deleting consider, and added accommodate the students with specific food allergies, medical issues, and food intolerances, to make that a little bit stronger.
Surprised it was not as strong.
Yeah, consider is just not enough.
No, it's
Yeah.
not.
You can't
It
just
was an
consider
old
it.
policy from 2011.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was from MASC.
No,
I get
this
it.
was
Gotcha.
ours,
so
Gotcha.
Anything that's usually like an ADF 1 is Grafton adding more policies. So this was ours, so.
Well, the
sorry.
fact that it's mostly still good.
It's
you know?
still good, it just, yeah, updated.
Needed an update
Yeah.
from 10 years ago when we last voted on this. And then finally, ADFR, this was our original policy providing the duties for the District Wellness Council, which we have now replaced in what we're proposing as the new ADF in the Wellness Committee. So that one would be superseded by this one policy, again, following our efforts to try to condense and simplify and make the policies more user-friendly and have fewer policies, and make sure that their policies we're actually wanting to use, so that everyone knows what they are and we can utilize them.
So 3 become 2.
Is Wellness Council usually a policy? Are your subcommittees usually policies, or?
We have to have one. I
have
think
to?
it's by law, and we're supposed to be reviewing this every year as well, just for people to know for the future. Tracy brought it to our attention, so I think because it's
Okay.
a mandate, and we support mandates, usually, we included it in policy.
Okay.
Nice job. All right, how does the committee want to do this? You want to do it all in one? You want to do one at a time?
I think all one is fine.
Okay, I'll take a motion.
I'm trying to figure out how to
I know,
read it.
right?
Can I just do it one at a time? It's easier for me to.
Just say changes as presented.
Okay.
Yeah. ADF.
All right, well, okay, I make a motion to have ADF, Health Wellness Policy as a first reading, ADF-1, Health Wellness Guidelines as a first reading, and ADFR, District Wellness Council as a first reading,
Removal,
removal.
sorry.
There we go. Motion made and seconded. Any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Moving on.
Okay, so next in your packet, you'll see the financial payment policies that we've discussed at the last meeting. It may have been 2 meetings ago.
No, it was the last one.
Was it the
but
last
so
one?
long
It's
ago.
been so long.
Yeah. They're
So
just-
these are, so let's see, the first 2, I guess I'll group the first 2 first. So the first 2 are the second readings for these. These are just payment procedures that we made modifications to, and now the version you see is cleaned and presented in the form that we want to publish it in. So maybe we can vote on these 2 and then
Yep.
look at the last one separately.
I make a motion to accept policy DKR, payment procedures, and DM, cash and school buildings as a second reading.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Okay.
Motion carries.
So the last one, BEDH, This is the policy regarding our public participation at committee meetings, and we just made a few changes to this, to.
Oh.
Oh,
Can I jump in? Do you mind?
yeah, sure.
So I think, well, we didn't, I guess we made a few changes. We wanted to include the updated, I just want to say that this is the updated MASC policy. We've been waiting to present this policy because there's been some lawsuits surrounding public comment, and MASC came out with the policy below, and then I'll turn it back to Liz. Sorry, Liz.
Okay. So, in addition to the MASC policy, I guess the first version you see could be, imagine that's redlined, so that would be redlined and replaced with the MASC policy with the changes that we have marked to make it more appropriate for Grafton. I'll just let you look at those and let me know if you have any questions.
And I just wanted to walk through a little bit, just because I think, I mean, Amy did a great job tonight. I think this is helpful for the public to know what to expect when they make a public comment, and for us too. It can be very awkward to not respond, but because of open meeting law, we really can't respond to something that wasn't on the agenda. So if we had responded, for instance, to the critical race theory and gotten into a back and forth, we would be violating open meeting law. So it can be frustrating, I think, on both ends to not have that response, but this makes it very clear, and I think it's just, at least for me, it's very comforting to know, okay, I'm just here to listen, which is really our job too, is just to listen, and then if we want to address it, we can put it on a future agenda item. So I just wanted to just make you aware of that's kind of what. And then Amy, we do kind of give a lot, I mean, you won't always be chair possibly, but a lot is in with the chair's purview. Like, it is up to the chair whether or not they want to, what they want to do. It's at the discretion, and we wanted to make that clear.
I like the third paragraph. It's my favorite. Just because it explains what public comment is, what it's not. We're not going to debate. We're not going to, it's not Q&A time.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a school committee meeting, and we can allow comments. But, so number 6, as you can see, was added to address the open meeting law topic that Laura raised, just to put it in writing and make it clear for everyone that we'll be following the laws.
Yeah.
I had a question about number 5. So written comments, is the intent that those would then be read at the meeting? I'm kind of.
I didn't think so.
Oh, no, it says longer than 3. Okay.
Yeah,
So if
so
they
if-
want to present us with written comments, they can do that
Yeah.
through correspondence.
Just to make sure we have copies of it, so
Okay.
people know that they can have whatever, amount of time they want, but we're not gonna let them speak more than.
Yeah, I think, well, that's written comments, so yeah, that's not,
And I said 2 tonight, but I messed that up, and
Oh.
because the current policy actually does say 3, but I just let it go to 3 when I said 2.
well, it says up to 3, so it's at your
Yeah.
discretion.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I think 2 it seemed to fit really well, and it allowed more people to speak too.
Yeah. Well, when you
And
have, when you have 15 minutes, you can do 5 people in 15 minutes if they do 3.
Right, and I think though, it can be, again, it's up to the chair. If the chair wants, we might need a time where maybe it's more than 15, you never know.
Yep. Well, and some people feel more comfortable communicating via email, and sending, they can always email us. And, we'll respond as best we can.
Okay.
And that's, if we get emails, we might put something on the agenda based on that. So,
Yeah.
all right.
So anyway, I'm really
I like this.
excited about this policy because it's been a long time coming, and I just think it helps us and it'll help the public as well.
I agree. I'll take a motion. If anybody,
Make a motion to accept policy BED8, public participation at school committee meetings as a first reading.
motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Nice job on this. And I'm sorry I missed your meeting. All right.
Yes, Joanne.
I'm sure you did.
Give you a shout out.
Oh, now I have to watch the recording. Oh, there's no recording. Okay. All right. All those in favor
Aye.
Aye. Good job.
Also, shout out, Tracy joins us as well to our policy
Oh.
subcommittee, so it's not just us.
See her name all over.
Yeah, Tracy.
Did you miss me too?
Tracy comes and offers us guidance, so.
She's a big help.
She's a huge help.
We're in the home stretch now. Member reports. Anybody have anything to report? I watched the Board of Education meeting this morning. It was short. There were 3 people that made statements. Were you watching, Kristen?
Always.
What?
Always.
Oh, really? You always watch? That's interesting meeting, the way that's run. Yeah. Wow, I've watched a couple now, and I don't follow how they do their public comment, but they did not do public comment today, I noticed. But they did do it over Zoom. And the vote was 9-1, in case you guys hadn't heard, so. No other member reports? We're all just getting started with the school year, so.
You know, looking forward to a fantastic year.
Yep.
Very excited.
Correspondence. We received oodles and oodles of correspondence. We did prepare a separate packet that's available online for anybody who wants to go and look at it, of all the correspondence we've received from July 3rd to August 23rd. It's also in the main packet. I don't know if anybody wanted to say anything about any of the correspondence, or...
I'll just say thank you to everyone who took the time to write. I mean, we always appreciate it. We usually don't get back and forth on correspondence because of open meeting law, so we usually kind of look to our wonderful chair or Dr. Cummings to respond, but, you know, your voices matter and it's important to reach out, so I appreciate anybody who took the time to do so.
Yep. Anybody else? All right. We have executive session this evening, so we will take a motion to go into executive session.
Amy?
And yes.
I move that we go into executive session for reasons under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 38, Section 21, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with union personnel, and to reconvene in open session only for the purposes of adjournment.
Second.
All those in favor?
This has to be a roll call.
Oh, it does? Thank you. So this will be a roll call vote. Rahul?
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
Jen?
Jennifer Connolly, aye.
Wow.
That's what I've always said.
Laura?
Laura, Eileen Often, aye.
And Amy Marr, aye. Thank you to everybody for coming out. Thank you to everybody who watched.
Thank you.
Welcome back to school, Grafton.